What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here coming at y'all with another week 4 preview. And we got a huge and interesting Big 12 conference matchup between the West Virginia Mountaineers and the number 4 ranked Oklahoma Sooners, man, kicking off in prime time, 6:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC. And right now, the Sooners are a 16.5 point favorite over the Mountaineers. And this game has so many ramifications in terms of Oklahoma's college football playoff bid, West Virginia's run to try to improve themselves in the Big 12, also looking to continue some more upsets. Man, they had a big upset over Virginia Tech and Morgantown last week, so there's a lot to talk about here. But let's start with the Sooners looking to improve to 4-0, but they have so many questions to answer. They should come in with a chip on their shoulder because so many experts and fans are wondering about some of the issues that have come to light in terms of them struggling a bit with Tulane and Nebraska in 2 of their first 3 games. This is going to be a huge measuring stick for the Sooners. And Saturday night, if they come out here and absolutely demolish West Virginia, could go a long way in determining what Oklahoma's potential is moving forward this season. So this game is extremely important for the Sooners, and I expect them to come out ready to go with a huge chip on their shoulder. Now, the Mountaineers suffered a tough loss to Maryland in week 1, in which they had plenty of chances to actually win that game. But they rebounded in a big way, showed their potential in a top 15 upset over number 15 Virginia Tech and Morgantown this past weekend. And now the question lies, how can the Mountaineers and can the Mountaineers make it two consecutive top 15 upsets? If it can happen, Neil Brown is going to have this team absolutely firing on all cylinders, and it could go a long way in kind of seeing if West Virginia can be one of those top teams in the Big 12 this year. Now, this is the 12th matchup between these teams in school history. Oklahoma's won the last 8. The last West Virginia win came in the 2008 Fiesta Bowl. So a long time coming. West Virginia is going to be motivated to go. Norman's going to be rocking in prime time, and I can't wait for this game. But let's go ahead and get to the keys for the Sooners, man. It has to start with the rushing attack for me. And because you have to set up the deep passing for Spencer Rattler to finally open up and, throw it deep for Oklahoma, take some shots, which is something that for some reason uncharacteristically has not been happening in this offense, and it's really held them back. I do want to say, though, I love how Lincoln Riley has balanced the use of Eric Gray and Kennedy Brooks, and I expect both of them to see a heavy dose of carries this weekend. But the one thing I want to see this running game do is help Lincoln Riley in this offense establish more consistent drives throughout the game. They've been dominating the second quarter, but there's been some lulls in the third and early fourth quarter where Oklahoma can't seem to get it going, and they almost seem like they're stuck in the mud. And that cannot happen this weekend. West Virginia is too good for that. So you want Gray and Brooks to continue to be able to run the ball efficiently and also move the chains to control some of the clock and keep your defense fresh late into this game. Both of them have, Brooks is over 200 yards, Gray's at almost 200 yards, both averaging over 5.5 yards per carry, and Brooks has found the end zone 3 times. So they've had great production early in the season. And now I picked the rushing game because the Sooners have to help Rattler set up his deep ball. He has to push the ball down the field because he's averaging the least amount of deep passes per game in a season, over less than the last 4 quarterbacks for the Sooners. Only 3 completions for 102 yards and a pick beyond 20 yards down the field. That's a 41.6 grade by Pro Football Focus and only a 56.3 passer rating for deep passes. You look at underneath, 87% completion percentage, 344 and 6 touchdowns, no turnovers. So he's done a majority of his damage short, underneath, and intermediate routes in which the wide receivers go on then and go ahead and make plays for him. But I want to see Oklahoma keep this offensive rhythm, take some deep shots against the secondary who lost a lot of key pieces such as Tyke Smith to Georgia and I believe it was Drayshawn Miller to Auburn as well. Oklahoma's gotta avoid those long stretches of walls, and it starts with getting the rushing game going, and then letting Rattler work off the play action and being able to keep the defense honest and going down the field and allowing one of the deepest wide receiving cores in the country to be utilized and let their talent shine this weekend. So that's what I want to see out of the Sooners. Now, for the Mountaineers, it also has to be the rushing game, but for a different reason, because you have to keep the pressure off of Jared Doege, which was the key to their upset bid for Virginia Tech last weekend. Letty Brown has played absolutely outstanding this season and is on pace to even outperform what he did last year, which he ranked second in the conference in rushing yards last year. He's already rushed for 265 and 5 touchdowns while averaging over 5 yards per carry. Last week, he had over 160 yards, and he was the key to West Virginia wearing down that defensive front for Virginia Tech and opening up some space for Doege to go down the field. And, Doege, has not done well on passing concepts not set up by the run. So setting up the play action game for Doege is of the utmost important. Also the play action keeps the pressure off of him for the most part. He can keep the defense back off of him where they're only blitzing the front four and they have to put those linebackers into coverage. But Doege has really struggled under pressure. So you have to try to work a way to get him high percentage throws and quick throws and things like that. So because Oklahoma's got a disgusting pass rush. I mean, they have one of the best front sevens in the country, and Doege has to find a way to get the ball out of his hands and keep that defense off of him. When under pressure, Doege only completes 38% of his passes for 126 and an interception and has a 28.8 passing grade by Pro Football Focus when he's under pressure. And Doege has to avoid the turnovers. He's struggled with that at times, but if you get the Sooners are way too explosive for you to give them extra possessions, great field position, everything like that will lead to an Oklahoma blowout. So Doege has to rely on the run to open up some opportunities, keep the defense, from just pinning the ears back and coming after him, and also keep it in third and manageable. That way you can, release the whole playbook in those situations, because Oklahoma will pin their ears back if they find you in third and long, and I don't think West Virginia is equipped to stop what that would bring on from this Oklahoma defense. Now, the matchup to watch is so important, and it builds right off of that. It's the West Virginia offensive line against the Oklahoma D-line. And we covered the West Virginia Tech game last week, and it was the same type of matchup because keeping Doege comfortable in the pocket is of the utmost importance, which is what they did last week. And you saw how dangerous they could be when that offense is clicking. Oklahoma has a much better pass rush group than what Virginia Tech even had. And this West Virginia O-line is going into its biggest test of the season thus far, and they have to step up. They performed well at times this season. They've lost 6 sacks, 23 pressures, 13 hurries throughout their first 3 games. The unit as a whole performed pretty well last weekend, but the D-line is going to be so much more dynamic and dangerous than what Virginia Tech brought to the table. Right now, I would say the weakest spot is left tackle, and that spot has to shore up because, as we know, Nick Benito and those edge rushers for Oklahoma are dogs, and they will get to your quarterback. And if you are not playing at your best, Oklahoma is going to wreak havoc in the backfield. And that's because looking at the Sooners in this matchup, 17 sacks already this season, and they've generated over 64 pressures. That's only in 3 games, guys. They've got pressure on the quarterback 64 times, which is one of the best marks in the country. They're led by Perion Whitfree in terms of sacks right now with 4 sacks from the D tackle spot. He's so versatile and explosive. Perion Whitfree is absolutely putting on a show, and it shows how dominant he can be, and he takes advantage of any one-on-one matchups he may see on the inside, which don't come often, but he just absolutely wreaks havoc inside. And that's not even including Nick Benito, 3 sacks, Isaiah Thomas, 3 sacks, Reggie Grimes, 2 sacks. Those guys will be some other names to watch on this defensive front for the Sooners. Now, if the Sooners can consistently pressure Doege, West Virginia is going to have a almost impossible time to. It's going to be. It's going to be. You're going to have such a tough time to try to win this game. If the Oklahoma D line allows Doji to be comfortable, though, I think West Virginia has the talent at wide receiver and quarterback and running back to take advantage of some of the matchups in the secondary. If you give Doji time, he's going to find a way to expose some weaknesses in that secondary, which shockingly is what Adrian Martinez did. Tulane did at times as well. So you cannot let West Virginia sit back in the pocket and pick you apart if you're Oklahoma. Shut down the run and get to the quarterback. If you can pin your ears back, you can get to Doji. But if you allow Letty Brown in this offense to establish their type of game, control the pace of the game, continue to get first downs and wear down your defense, West Virginia absolutely has a shot here to take this win. And I honestly think this is going to be such a close game, guys. I mean, really and truly, I think Oklahoma right now shows some weaknesses. West Virginia is coming in with all the momentum in the world from their top 15 upset. But just right now, man, I think this game is too close to be a 16.5-point spread. So I don't have Oklahoma covering, but I do just think I trust Rattler in the clutch more than I do Doji. And I'll also trust the two-headed monster of Gray and Brooks over Brown right now. And that defensive front for Oklahoma, in my opinion, is just too good. They're going to force Doji into one or two key mistakes. And right now have Oklahoma 34, West Virginia 24, a 10-point win for the Sooners, in which I think it's going to be a back-and-forth game early. And I just think Doji's going to make one or two mistakes down the stretch, which really allows Oklahoma to seal this game up. So I got a 10-point win. Oklahoma 34, West Virginia 24. Guys, if you're new, hit that subscribe button, and man, please like this video. Helps us out. And take some time, comment your score predictions below. What is your score prediction? What are your thoughts on the game? Where was I wrong? What did I miss? Y'all let me know. Love to interact with y'all in the comments. And I appreciate y'all tuning into the Blue Bloods, guys. But make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and you check out our community page. We'll be announcing new videos. We'll be promoting old ones. So just, I promise you, we got plenty of content no matter who you root for. We got the best and the most college football content on YouTube right now. But guys, we'll be back tomorrow with some more Week 4 previews. But for right now, the Blue Bloods are out.